it's me, the one and only 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆 here, and today I am doing a DIY on how to give your LPS tattoos. Many people want to give them tattoos, and I've tried to explain to a few people how to give their LPS tattoo and show them, and it's like, maybe I should just do tutorials so I don't have to keep doing that. Here is one of the tattoos I have done on an LPS just before we start. He kind of looks like a drawer. It's meant to be a dragon tattoo. I got inspiration of I just googled something I found on Google, and I think it turned out cool. It's almost the same, but I had to tweak it because it's on an LPS. And then we have this LPS that is literally just an LPS covered in tattoos. Got inspiration from Google, but yeah, I think it looks like a very cool LPS because of all the tattoos. What I'm going to do is explain and show to you how to get or how to give your LPS tattoos. I'm gonna do it in the easiest way possible because some things you can do are easier, some are harder, and hopefully by the time that you watch it, you'll know how to give your LPS tattoos. That being said, if you're a customizer, you probably already use all these techniques and already know how to create them or how to do them. If you're a customizer, you already know. But if you don't customize, you might not know, and this might be, maybe it will be a little bit harder, maybe not, I don't know. But I'll try to make it as easy as possible and tell you how to make it easier for yourself. So the materials you will need for sure. What you're going to need is an LPS. Firstly, we're gonna give this guy tattoos today because he's a bit simple. I have doubles and I feel like he would look cool with tattoo. Maybe I'll use him more, maybe not. You're gonna need something to put the paint on. I have a piece of cardboard that I'm gonna put the paint on. I would recommend getting something else that's actually meant to put paint on, but I'm not gonna do that today. And black, or you don't need black acrylic paint, but I'm gonna get into why we're using it in this video. Yeah, but you're gonna need acrylic paint, essentially. You will also need some varnish glue or Mod Podge type of thing to protect the tattoo from shipping, because we don't ship strangers in real life. That was a very bad joke. I strongly recommend getting a brush that is like this one, long and thin. If you don't have a long and thin one, get a thin brush. These type of brushes make it easier because of the length, at least in my opinion. This is gonna be very hard for you if you don't have a thin brush. So get a thin brush if you don't have one. This is so necessary, okay? You will need a little bit of water that I have in this glass. That is way too fancy for this. Whatever, who cares? So, if you don't know what kind of design that you're going to do, I recommend going on Google or Pinterest or something and look for inspiration there. You'll find some really cool references and everything. However, I have already drawn a reference on this paper. It looks weird right now, but it will look hopefully decent when it's on the actual LPS. And what you need to do is put a little bit of black paint on the thing that you're supposed to put paint on, whatever it is. Now, I personally recommend using black paint, and the reason for this is that, firstly, you don't have to paint as many layers, okay? Usually when you use acrylic paint on LPS customs and stuff, you need to use multiple layers, right? And if you use black paint, you will have to do one, maybe two layers at most. And when you're working with tiny details, that's gonna really benefit you, because if you have to repaint the small, very tiny detail on your LPS over and over again, that's gonna be very difficult. Take some black acrylic paint and then mix it with just a little bit of water so it gets smoothed out. And also, one benefit of using black paint is that when you use black paint, the shadows on the brush strokes, the shadows that comes from the brush strokes are not as noticeable as if you were to use white paint. Doing white paint tattoos on LPS, it's a very difficult thing, and if you're a beginner, you really should stay away from that and stick to darker colors like black, navy blue, but just preferably black. Black is easier, okay? Just take my word for it. It is way easier. Also, pick a LPS with quote-unquote short fur. The reason is LPS with short fur, quote-unquote, has a very even texture. When you pick an LPS like this, that is a bit more difficult. You can see that fur had these I don't know, not creases, but it kind of goes in and out, and I guess we can call it creases. That makes it easier. These creases in the fur, the fur stands out and then it goes a bit inward where it's less fur and then it stands out. And painting small details on a non-flat surface, a more rough surface, that's a lot more difficult. So if you're a beginner, I would suggest picking, instead of a common like this one, pick a gritting, because their base and the shape of the Great Dane makes it a lot more easier to give them tattoos. This is gonna be difficult to do on camera, but what we're gonna do is give him the tattoo on his little arm here. Or maybe it's not so little, but whatever. And now, as you can see, I did a terrible job with that. You might be thinking, oh no, how are we gonna clean that? You take the glass of water, put the brush in it, make sure there's no paint left on the brush. Maybe make sure that you don't have too much water and just on the glass. Then you will take the brush and rub it where you don't want the paint, and then it will go away. It's kind of like an eraser eventually, so you can just do that. You can also use your nails to get rid of paint, just like this, to kind of peel the paint off. Maybe don't do this on customs if you're giving a custom a tattoo, because you know the custom is made out of paint, and if you do this to get rid of paint, you might get rid of the wrong paint. But if it's on a Hasbro LPS like this, it really shouldn't cause any kind of harm to any paint. So if it's a Hasbro LPS, go for it. Make sure that you don't put too much paint on the brush, because if you do put too much paint on the brush, I'll try to add a detail or something around like this. It's going to get way too thick and it's going to look very bad. When you do your LPS tattoo, make sure that you don't have too much water on the brush, because then it will turn out like that, and that's not what we're going for here. So just put the right amount of water and put the right amount of paint in the brush. Or I would say after any time you dip your brush into the water, you dry it off a little bit, or you go like on the glass so that some of the water just falls off, if that makes sense. Or it doesn't fall off, but you know what I mean. Once you feel somewhat satisfied with the tattoo job that you have given or done to your LPS, whatever, you will take the Mod Podge or Mod Podge thingy, whatever that you got, and you will put some of that on the same thing where you keep your paint. Just don't mix it with the paint. Put it on the same thing, but keep the paint and the gloss or matte gloss. It should be matte. The matte varnish glue, you put that separately, and then mix a little bit of water with the varnish glue, just so that it is like, yeah, just so that it doesn't leave too many brush strokes, just so that it gets a little bit thinner. We can paint multiple layers so that it goes on. Just make sure that it's not too thick so you don't get those brush strokes, because we don't want that. Or maybe you do, I don't know you. And you might be wondering, why should the varnish glue be matte? Can it be glossy? And well, it can be, but if you put some of the varnish glue on the wrong place when it is, when it is glossy, it's going to be a lot more noticeable. Whereas here, you should get it roughly right, but if it's not perfect, it's not gonna be noticeable at all. So just do that, paint over it, until you have painted over the whole tattoo. And feel free to do multiple layers with both the paint that is the tattoo itself and the varnish that is supposed to protect the tattoo from getting shipped off to another country. I'm really unfunny. This is the final result. I'm not too satisfied with it, to be honest, but ultimately I made this video and gave this guide tattoo to teach you guys the core mechanics of giving your LPS tattoos, and I mean, it accomplished that. That was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Honestly, even if you didn't enjoy it, do those things anyways. It would benefit me a lot. If you want any more DIYs on literally anything that you've seen on my channel, request it and I'll put it down on the list, and maybe I'll do it at some point. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!